TPE Network. Fun yet informative podcasts.
Hello and welcome to the Mandalorian Fan Podcast. I'm Hank.
And I'm Alex.
And we're your hosts covering every episode of The Bad Batch on Disney+. This is episode number 5 of season 1 titled Rampage. So as we start out, Tech gives Omega a comm device that used to be crosshairs. So we had that little sentimental moment. And she's kind of playing with it like it's a toy, which you would if you're a little kid who hasn't been.
That's a typical kid thing, right? So and they were yelling at her for it, but come on, she's a kid. You
right.
Wouldn't expect any less.
And this is episode 5, so I'm thinking you probably should have gave this to her immediately upon meeting this child, because she has gotten in more situations where this would have been the MacGuffin. This could have been the device that is coveted for the situation that she was in other season episodes. So it's kind of funny. But they're going to go to Ord Mantell, which is the home of Sid, who is some sort of informant that the Jedis used to have dealings, air quotes, dealings with.
And I'm not so sure, we've seen this character before. I did some research and it didn't really appear that we have.
Okay.
But Ord Mantell, that's kind of it was first mentioned in Empire Strikes Back when, Han Solo told everybody he was leaving. And he said the thing that convinced him was the bounty hunter that, they met on Ord Mantell. So that, again, that was a story that took place in between, Empire Strikes Back and New Hope previous, or Star Wars, as us original folks call it.
Thanks for that information. That's a really good insight. So Omega is given a list of rules, which I love, because you already know this kid can't follow rules to save her life. And then Echo never actually met Sid before, just heard about Sid. Waits till they get all the way there before we get that little juicy tidbit. That was so funny to me.
And you'd think, Echo would have a little bit better intel than that.
Yes. Like, what do they look like? What species? Anything.
Right.
But Omega's able to figure out who it is. And do you think it was just because she asked, and she's a kid, or do you think she had some kind of insight?
I think from what I've seen, she has some kind of insight because immediately it's like she sensed something, and then she looked at, the real Sid and was like, oh, come on. Was it that obvious?
I love that. No. Echo shows Sid a picture of Fennec, and Sid's going to help them, but they're going to have to pull off a job for them first. So Sid wants them to retrieve Moochie, a kid who was kidnapped by Zagarians, and she's going to actually pay them, but it's going to be a split of the return bounty for Moochie. They'll get 30, she gets 70, which I found hilarious.
Well, if you want information that bad, you'll pay anything to get it.
Yeah. I mean, she could have really just said 100% and they would have done it.
Oh, yeah.
They needed that information, or they really wanted that information.
But also, I think she realized that, they need to try to earn, money on their own so they can, get supplies and whatnot. Now, before we continue on, now Sid's voice should sound a little familiar to everybody. And I first thought it was Amy Penderas from the Mandalorian.
Oh, I thought it was somebody from Cheers. Remember the old show,
Cheers? It is.
Oh,
it is.
I'm correct.
But when I first heard it, I thought it was Amy Penderas, and then I looked and it said Rhea Perlman. I'm like, oh, Carla, of course. And so Amy Penderas and Rhea Perlman have a similar voice, and so then I kept on. As soon as I looked that up, In fact, I think I looked it up after the episode because that would have distracted me if I would have known that during the episode.
Okay.
So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I heard that voice and I was like, could it be? But I didn't look it up. I was just kind of shocked that I was hearing that voice.
No, I thought it was Amy Panderas playing more than one character in the Star Wars universe because there's been other actors kind of doing the same thing.
Most certainly. Wrecker is still having headaches, and how they don't see this as a problem is beyond my understanding. Has Tech taken a look at him?
Not that I'm aware of, but you think he would have.
Yes.
But this is the only instance in this episode that we see that. And so again, this is foreshadowing for a future episode because I think it's going to come to a head pretty quickly.
Not bad, not bad. Be performing here every Saturday. The team plans things and then they leave Omega behind. How did she think she was gonna go? As soon as I saw that they were leaving her behind, I was like, yeah, she's gonna be their last line of defense because that's how these tropes work.
And as we know, any kid in the Star Wars universe never listens. They do the opposite. Now I want you to stay here. Okay. As soon as they're gone, here I come.
So I'm surprised she stayed as long as she did, but it was a good thing because they promptly get captured. And then, did my ears deceive me? Was that the voice of the Tick that found the ship?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, I thought I heard that voice, and I was like, "Oh, I'll ask Alex when we're on the show." But we can look it up while we're continuing on. But I heard a familiar voice searching the ship, and I was like, "Oh, nice." But Omega is able to elude them, so she does have some really good skills when it comes to evasion and because look how experienced Fennec Shand is, and she was able to kind of work around her for most of that last episode. So you gotta figure she's pretty good.
Okay, so a question I had, and maybe I can share this with the viewers. Does anybody think that Ming-Na Wen gets paid for not doing any voice work, but for having her character being seen? And it is in her likeness, so.
Oh, I think she shouldn't she?
I don't know. Maybe you know what? I bet you Wayne Henderson would know that. He's like the expert when it comes to voiceover stuff. So
yeah, he is. Yeah, that's a great question. She probably gets a nice salary to be in any episode, let alone to use her voice.
Yeah, well, maybe it's like we'll give her so much money per episode she's in, and then if we show her character which has her likeness on it, maybe it's slightly less. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I might investigate that. That's pretty interesting. The team has shot collars on them as they're, heading to enslavement camps near you. So they see Omega is already in action. It was so funny. They were like, if we could get to our radios, we could radio her. And Tech is like, I don't think we're going to need the radios because there she is right there crawling across that rope. That was great. She's pretty fun. I'm going to admit that, while I'm not a big fan of little kids hijacking shows and stuff, this one has some special element to her, in my opinion.
That's because she's a star child.
Yep. So Omega makes a play for their gear, and oh my goodness, she unlocks this cage, and this giant Rancor is set loose. But the Rancor is Moochie. Did you see that plot twist coming?
No, I didn't, because we all thought that Moochie was the one humanoid the green humanoid that they had in there. I can't think of the race of that alien, but they've used it before in Shadows of the Empire. I think that's where they were first seen. But anyway, I think that's what it was alluding to, and kudos to the writers for hiding that fact.
Yes. Is that a similar character, similar type to a Bosk like species, or no?
No.
Okay.
No.
Days off.
Let's see. I'm thinking. I know Sid. Let's see. Where have we seen Sid species before? If we go back to Return of the Jedi, a lot of these species we saw in Jabba's palace, and yeah. Again, I should have done better research on this.
Bosk is a Trandoshan.
Okay.
That's he's a Trandoshan, so they do look a lot different than that.
Okay.
Just by what I'm looking at anyway. But I was just curious because I was like, man, it seems like I've seen that before, and I couldn't picture like what it would have been from. But you would assume she's green, they're green. That Moochie was going to be one of those people enslaved.
Yeah. I think a lot of us felt that way, and surprise, it's the little rancor. I'm like, oh.
So they get loose, and the battle is on. The team is going to split up, and Hunter took that slaver. He took him to task pretty quickly. I liked how well he fought against him. And then this is the part that lost me, was Wrecker and Tech going after Moochie, and we'll get to it in a minute, but Wrecker displayed some fighting actions that he could have used against Finnick. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, maybe they had a different writer. I don't and I think that's the hardest thing with episodic television, is to have some kind of continuity.
Yeah.
And that's why you need a really good editor to help you with that. Yep. So Wrecker goes ahead and some type of, in order to show friendship or whatnot with the rancor, he had to dominate him.
Yep, domination. That was crazy. They were duking it out of like, Wrecker, where was all this fight when Finnick Shand was just smoking you last time? I'm sure he's gonna say this. Well, it was in an enclosed area. It was too tight of a space. Blah blah blah. But it was kind of funny.
Or maybe he was smitten.
Yeah. But Moochie, prior to that, wrecked that dragon. I kept thinking of Game of Thrones and such, but that dragon-like creature, man, Moochie smoked him.
Yeah, that kind of scared it away. Now, what kind of dragon was that?
I don't know the race of that one. To be honest, I don't know.
I wonder if if I would have done better job researching this, I could probably find it right away.
We got an amazing community out there, so let's put it out to the community. What was that species? Help us out with all these various species we weren't up on this week. All in between that, Omega found a really cool weapon. I think that's going to be very helpful going forward. That it was like a arm bow and arrow where she just keeps it on her arm. I thought that
was
cool.
kind of a neat weapon. Yeah.
So I'm hoping that comes into play down the road. Bib Fortuna visits Sid. Let's park there for just a second. What do you think about the interconnectivity that we're seeing? So we're kind of seeing timeline wise where we're at, and then we have that kind of interconnectivity with a Bib Fortuna crossover.
I think you have to have something like that in order to unite all the franchises together. You got to have cameos and stuff from previous characters. So Bib Fortuna kind of had quite the year this year. You know, appeared in this and appeared in Mandalorian. So,
Yep.
hey, good for him. All right, so I got an update on this a dragon, and this dragon first appeared. It's called Reptavian. Excuse me.
Reptavian.
So
Okay.
it's a Reptavian because they combine the words reptile with like AVR, which means to fly, to avian, to be in the sky, creature that's in the sky.
Okay.
And so, yeah, but so again, that's another Clone Wars thing. So
That is cool. Very good. Thanks for
and
finding that.
yeah, but lo and behold, I'm still looking for the tick.
Yeah, because I think I would recognize that voice anywhere, but I could be wrong. As the team brings Moochie back, Sid tells Hunter all about Finnick Shand. And then the most curious part of the episode, which one that should concern us all, is when Sid questions, why would somebody like Finnick be looking for you guys? That means you guys are worth a lot. I mean, once the money stuff starts coming into play, then I got a little concerned.
Right.
Because then people like that are just dealing in money and like as a commodity, they're going to turn you in eventually or wait for a good opportunity to trap you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I kind of like this part because it kind of set up like we could be seeing, the Bad Batch going on different missions for that, Sid kind of set up for them so they can, earn that money. And I really enjoyed this episode. This is probably one of my favorite ones of the season yet.
Oh, nice. I guess we'll roll right into our ratings for the episode. These are real short episodes they're putting out, but as you and I were talking before the show, oftentimes if you were going to make a 30-minute show, it would only be 18 to 20 minutes ish of actual content. So that's kind of the way it goes. What are you going to give this episode then?
All right, well, I give this episode, oh boy, I'll give it a 10. And the reason why I'm going to give it a 10 because I absolutely loved what the writers I loved what they did in this episode. One of the things I liked that they did was they had that one little instance in which Wrecker, had that ache in his head, and it was just that one moment, but that's gonna come to play down the line. I absolutely loved what they did with the revelation of Moochie because they had me hook, line, and sinker that it was one of those other species.
Me too. I am going to give it a 9 out of 10. I thoroughly enjoyed the episode. It was one of those episodes where it's like, hey, why is like when we did the Mandalorian? Hey, why is the Mandalorian helping Bill Burr break into a floating prison? It's one of those kind of episodes, but it's really well done. They used Omega perfectly this episode, and everything for the most part made a lot of sense. I think they could have bookended it a little bit better. Like if they would have bookended it with Sid pulling up a hologram conversation with Finnick. Yeah, they're just leaving now, or something. I'd have been like,
Yeah.
That does it for me. But I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. So both great scores. The series is really rolling along. And I think it's going to be, when it's all said and done, I think it's going to be one of the better animated series that we get to discuss.
Yeah, it's really been a lot of fun. So, update on the Tick. I have both actors that played the Tick in the two Tick animated features have not been in
Not
Bad
listed
Batch.
in
Nope,
Bad Batch. Okay.
No.
Darn it. All right. There must be somebody else that sounds similar out there. I'm gonna do some
Unless
more
you're thinking
investigation.
it's Patrick Warburton, but Patrick Warburton's a pretty, he has a very distinct voice. I would have picked him out.
Okay. For those of you who don't know, 15 years of podcasting is coming up June 6th, but my live stream airs every Thursday, Hank's Happy Hour. And we are going to be celebrating 15 years of podcasting. Yes, we will be celebrating in full. So join us. Let your voice be heard. You can send in a voice message at +1 810 309-8445. I'll play it on the stream. Or you can just head to tpenetwork.com/feedback to leave a voice message from your cell phone, laptop, computer, whatever device. And we would love to play it on that episode. It is this coming Thursday, June the 3rd, 15 years of podcasting. We'll be celebrating. You never know who's going to stop in. So come in, join the chat room. It's available on YouTube, TP Network's YouTube channel, or our Facebook page. Those videos stream from there every time I go live. So it's always a lot of fun. Agent 14 pops in, Rick pops in, all kinds of people come in and out, and we just have fun goofing off. So it's going to be me, Alex, Big Mike, and I'm sure other people will be saying hello here and there and all that stuff. So please consider joining us for that. Alex, anything else before we wrap her on up?
No, 15 years. Holy cow. Who'd have thunk it?
It seems like yesterday.
So yeah. And
awesome.
And unfortunately in August I celebrate a milestone birthday. I'm not going to say what that is because it'll make me sound really old. So we'll just say we'll just say it's not 40 because I already been there. So everyone probably knows what it is now, but yeah.
Yes,
so do. I feel old.
No, we don't get older. We just get better.
That's right.
But then once I kneel down, I can't get back up. So it's a problem. But this has always been a lot of fun. So thank you so much for tuning in to the Mandalorian Fan Podcast. For Alex, I'm Hank. Until the next time, we're signing off.
See ya.
TPE Network. There ain't nothing else like it.